Hello, and welcome back to Women for Wealth. So, today I want to talk to you a little bit about tariffs. It's really a hot topic in America right now. Donald Trump is threatening to levy higher tariffs on other countries. And there's a lot of misunderstanding out there about tariffs. So, one of the things that has been said by Donald Trump is that he wants to get rid of the IRS and eliminate personal income tax. And I think that would be great. I think it's a ridiculous system. It's completely unconstitutional and unfair in how that it's been done. I mean, the whole idea that, hey, you got to pay your taxes to us. We're not going to tell you how much. You got to figure it out. And if you get it wrong, oh, by the way, we're going to come after you. We're going to take everything you own and we're going to bury you under the jail. I mean, if you know how much I owe, just tell me how much to pay. Or, this idea of income taxes. Now I understand when they first did income taxes, it was because they needed money for the war. I got that. But we're not in a national crisis right now. I don't think, should have a system of taxes that are automatically taken out of your paycheck. I think people should have to write that check. I think people would be more involved and more active in politics if their personal lives were affected, where every quarter you'd have to sit down and write a check and mail it in. As a business owner, I have to do that. So I don't see why, from a personal standpoint, I can't do it. But, it is what it is. You have to play within the rules of the game that you're playing. You can't control everything. But if you don't get rid of income tax and then you do levy tariffs, how's that going to affect someone's personal income? It's going to act equivalently like an inflation. You're going to have to pay more for common goods if they come from one of these countries that have this new tariff laid on them. And tariff is a tax, let's be honest, it is. The idea, and I've heard it said, the idea that, oh, well, if you put a tariff on China, the Chinese people are going to have to pay that. No, if you run a business, all of your costs get passed through to your customer. So the customers end up paying any business cost. That's part of how you mark up your products. You look at what your overhead is, which is how much you have to spend, and then you divide that out between how many units of whatever you're going to sell, and that's your additional markup. So when you provide a good or service, you're covering your overhead cost as part of the price. So China's just going to add that tariff into the cost of whatever it is you're buying. And so at the end of the day, the consumer is going to be the one paying this extra tax. And if they don't get rid of income tax and they do put tariffs in place, then it's just going to be more money out of your personal pocket. So just think about that. Times are tough. They really are. And when I forget, local eggs here, I think were like $12 a dozen. That's $1 an egg. That's insanely expensive. My husband does not like eggs, so we don't buy eggs. I enjoy eggs, but because he hates them so bad, I don't even buy them. I don't even bring them in the house. So the eggflation, as they're calling it, isn't going to affect us directly, but it is going to affect a lot of people because eggs are a good, healthy source of protein. And so that could definitely affect people. I jokingly told a friend of mine, I said, I need to get some egg layers. I need to throw up a chicken coop in the backyard. And of course, excuse me, I can't do that because we have a lot of wildlife living on the lake. And we have coyotes and foxes and all kinds of predators. So if I did get some chickens, I'd definitely have to give extra precaution to keeping them safe. The worst thing that ever could happen for me would be to go out in the morning and something to have happened to them because a predator got to them. Boy, I went way off basis. But anyway, that their self-sufficiency is a way to help you and your family reduce the burden of inflation and the cost of tariffs and various things like that. So, maybe if you live out in the country and there's not an ordinance against it, maybe you want to get a couple of egg layers. I don't have chickens, but I could understand somebody wanting to do that, especially with $1 an egg. That's ridiculous. Gardening. I'm a huge gardener. I have another channel called Heather's Greenhouse. I hope you check it out too. I love gardening. I grow vegetables and cut flowers, and the vegetables I grow help augment and supplement our diet. So we're not having to buy fresh fruit from the grocery store. I just grow it in the backyard. We go and harvest it out of the backyard, and that's the better way to go for us. The whole point of this was to say, don't get scared, don't freak out. Could tariffs increase the price of stuff? Yes. Is Donald Trump actually going to put tariffs in place? I don't know. I think he's going to use it as a bargaining chip for a lot of these countries. Um, I mean, we've already seen Canada and Mexico say, okay, if you don't increase tariffs on us, then we'll put more border security at the border. So they're going to help us secure our borders. And I think that's great. I think that I personally believe we need closed borders as a country. Are we going to bring in immigrants? Absolutely. We're going to need to bring in immigrants because people are not having babies at enough pace to offset the death rate. So we're actually going to start shrinking as a nation if we don't start having more babies. So we need immigration, but we need to control who's coming in and how they come in. This whole open borders thing is ridiculous. We have created, in my opinion, a slave class. We have undocumented people that cannot be held accountable for their actions in a lot of places, and so they're committing crimes and doing horrible things against American citizens, and I think that's wrong. But you're also creating a group of people that aren't tracked and they're undocumented. They're not protected because they're not citizens, and they're mistreated, and they're expected to do hard work for a small amount of pay. The houses, a lot of times, because they don't make as much money and they want to send back home as much money as they can. Like, for example, Mexican laborers, a lot of times they want to live off the smallest amount of money so they can send back to their family as much money as they can and help supplement their family's income back home in Mexico. So they will live very sparse lives here. They will live. I heard a report where the police went in. There was a chicken farm around here, a commercial chicken farm, and they were using undocumented immigrants. They were paying them pennies on the dollar for what they were doing, and these immigrants were sleeping in 3-bedroom houses. There'd be 50 people in a 3-bedroom house, 1,200 square foot. There'd be 50 people living there. It just completely unhumane circumstances. And so they went in and they took all the children and they sent them through Child Protective Services and got them to safety and got them good quality food and a clean environment to live in and took care of the children. But the adults, they had nowhere to send them. So, they're like, hey, 50 people can't live in a 1,200 square foot house. You don't have proper places to sleep. You don't have proper ways to prepare food. And it's just dirty and filthy. It's not a good living environment. So I say let's close the border. Let's figure out how do we get all these people documented. Let's get them safe and protected to where they won't end up in this environment and figure it out. I mean, we're a nation of smart people. We can figure this out. So again, I went on a whole tangent that probably needs to get deleted, and I apologize to the editor for that. But yeah, at the end of the day, don't be afraid, don't be fearful. We're going through some changes in America, and I think that's okay. Change is not a bad thing. It's uncomfortable sometimes, but we're going to go through it regardless. And so I say, don't be afraid. Instead of getting fearful, figure out what you can do to impact your life and your family's life for the positive. Get control of your spending, increase your income as much as you can, budget, save, buy assets, Right now, it happens every time. Every time there's uncertainty and fear within the market, everybody's told to buy gold or silver, precious metals. Buy precious metals because that's going to sustain you. I bought a little bit of silver. My dad's got some gold, but I'm not stockpiling gold or silver. I'm not rolling my entire investments and savings account into it. There are people that are doing that. I would just caution you, make sure you understand the fluctuations in the price of precious metals before you start buying it. Make sure you do your research and understand it. If you understand it and you want to purchase some gold or silver, go for it. But don't be afraid. Don't let fear cause you to do something that you're not educated about and you're not comfortable with. Until next time, don't be afraid. Just put some plans in place. Look at how you can add sustainability to your lifestyle. Until next time, I wish you health and wealth.